This is the MHS Pawdcast, the online radio voice of Metuchen High School.
Welcome back to another edition of the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS. I'm Eddie Kalegi. A short show today leading into the holiday break. After the school announcements and an update on school sports, club advisor Miss Wisniewski will join Josh and I for the second annual MHS Pawdcast Trivia Showdown, with this year's theme being Metuchen High School history. Before that fun begins, let's send it to Sarah Terracina for the school announcements.
Thank you, Eddie. First, a reminder that this Friday, December 21st, is a 12:30 early dismissal, leading into winter break. School will return Wednesday, January 2nd. We at MHS Podcast would like to wish everyone a very happy holiday season. Also tomorrow, Eddie and Josh will be broadcasting the Metuchen girls basketball game between the Bulldogs and division rival South River. The game will be live on YouTube with the pregame show beginning at 5:25. The Metuchen High School Library is currently closed because of testing and holiday activities. However, it will reopen on January 2nd. That's all for announcements. Back to Eddie with the sport.
Thank you, Sarah. A tough loss for the girls' basketball team to open their season, falling at home to Carteret 61-43. For the Bulldogs, freshman Molly Maleg shined in her debut, leading the team with 13 points, including a pair of three-pointers. Great performance from her again this past Tuesday, as the Bulldogs followed up their tough loss with a solid overtime victory on the road over Dunellen. 25 points for Molly Maleg, one of four Lady Bulldogs scoring in double figures. The boys didn't fare much better in their opener, losing to Carteret 65-51. The Ramblers jumped out to a 20-7 first quarter lead and never looked back. But like the girls, the youth movement was prevalent for the boys, as sophomores Luke Schleck and Michael Piavoso led the way with 17 and 13 points respectively. Very few home games early on for the boys. That portion of the schedule will ramp up after winter break. Shifting from the court to the pool, the boys' swimming team reached a 3-0 record, winning their meet on Wednesday by the score of 102-68. Senior Julian Park and sophomore Alan Sial each led the way for the Bulldogs in two events, as the team also won all three relays. Wednesday's meet proved just as much of a success for the girls' swimming team, taking a swift victory 117-53. The Lady Bulldogs won every event in the meet, with 8 different swimmers helping the victory cause. They also remain undefeated on the early season. After a rough start to the season, the Edison Metuchen joint hockey team, coached by Metuchen's Christopher Giddis, played Kearney to a tie this past Friday. Metuchen juniors Jacob Cherry, Jackson Schneer, and Ian Emanuel each notched a goal in the tie. Finally, a shout out to the Metuchen wrestling team, who began their campaign on Tuesday. Coach Keagle's bunch climbed to a 1-0 record after an early season victory over South River, and it was a dominating one, 65-12. The tough road ahead includes a Saturday contest with the always competitive Glen Ridge. That's all for sports. I'm Eddie Kalegi. So when we come back, Miss Wisniewski will join the show for the second annual Trivia Showdown. Stick with us. This is the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS.
Having trouble seeing the board in class? Do you need safety glasses for your school sport? If you answered yes to either of these questions, head over to Optique Unique, the eyeglass store at 406 Main Street in Metuchen. Optique Unique does it all. Not only do they offer eyewear for all ages, they also sell sports-specific safety glasses for kids and adults. Call them at 732-321-2020. That's 732-321-2020, or visit OptiqueUnique.com. Do you want to build character, build confidence, or even build yourself? All that and more can be accomplished at the Black Belt Institute at 23 New Street, right here in Metuchen. Students of all ages have been able to learn respect, discipline, fitness, and self-defense from their experienced instructors for over 20 years. Whether you're an adult looking for stress reduction or know someone young who has interest in Taekwondo, the Black Belt Institute is the place to go. The Institute takes a fun approach at teaching the rules of self-defense, instilling in their students an I-can-do-it attitude. Interested in taking a class? Call them at 732-205-9797 or visit their website at blackbeltinst.com. Once again, that's 732-205-9797 or blackbeltinst.com. The Black Belt Institute, Metuchen's leader in martial arts and fitness. The MHS Pawdcast is proudly sponsored by Reflections on Main Salon at 176 Main Street in Metuchen. The salon offers hair design, nail, waxing, and makeup services for all ages. They are committed to providing the best customer service in the industry, offering a tranquil environment with environmentally friendly products and top brand names. Call them at 732-205-9881 or visit their website at reflectionsonmainNJ.com. Reflections on Main, Middlesex County's premier full-service beauty salon. The MHS Pawdcast is also sponsored by Allstate Insurance at 63 Pearl Street in Metuchen. Allstate, are you in good hands?
Welcome back to the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS. I'm Eddie Kalegi.
And I'm Josh Hyman.
For the second year in a row, right around the holidays, we will be doing a trivia showdown between me and Josh. It's great to be joined by our club advisor to host this, Miss Wisniewski. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, and good morning.
So, this year's theme will be Metuchen High School history, so without further ado, let's get this started.
Okay, I just have a few questions for you. I know you guys are both sports enthusiasts, so I thought I'd give you a few sports questions initially. Who was the first person on the 1,000-point club for females and for males?
Valgasta?
Very good. That's the female.
What I was going to say.
But there, now who is the male?
I know one from the 80s. Is it Arthur Flaherty?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Bam! Eddie gets it. Eddie gets the points. Miss Gaz is actually one of a good friend of mine, as well as a physical education teacher still here. Who was the first freshman to rush over 1,200 yards and 22 touchdowns on the ground in 1984?
Frank Bruno?
No.
No.
Do you want a hint?
Yes.
He was hired here at Metuchen as a paraprofessional this year.
I don't really know.
Matt Saledri.
I would have gotten that one.
Okay. What was Metuchen High School's original mascot?
I know this. I forgot what it is, though.
I'll give you a hint. It's a trick question.
Was there no mascot originally?
No, it was the Bulldog, and it's still the Bulldog.
Oh.
Shoot.
What year did Metuchen High School win its first state championship in football?
1942?
No. 1942, I don't think Metuchen existed, the high school.
Oh, really? Because in the gym, there's something for 1942 for football.
Then I guess it did.
Was it 1984, like you were mentioning earlier?
You're close, though. You're in the right
1985?
decade.
Was it 1985?
One more year.
86?
Yes. And who was the coach?
I have no idea.
Okay, the coach at that time, he retired 2 years ago. He was a phys ed teacher here.
And 2 years ago was the year before I started here, so.
Yeah,
Mr. Ennis. And if you knew him, he was a phenomenal person and phys ed instructor. He actually was here for 43 years.
43.
Yes. Who is the current vice principal of the United States?
Vice principal?
Wait,
Mike Pence?
Principal, yes. You're right, I said that wrong. I have principal on my mind. What other teacher at the high school shares a January 25th birthday with me? I did work with him last year. I do not work with him this year.
Mr. Mack?
No. He's in the history department.
Giddis?
No.
Schlavis?
No.
Mr. Robbins?
No.
Mr. Clark?
Mr. Clark. Okay. How long has Mr. Paragallo been Metuchen High School's principal?
16 years?
Nope.
18?
Nope.
Ooh.
He's been with the district longer, but he was not the principal of the school.
10 years?
Yes, bam. This is his 10th year, actually. Who played in the first Super Bowl?
It was the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes.
And who was the other one?
Packers?
Yes, bam. What is another word for lexicon?
I don't really know.
It's a dictionary. These are just fun little facts. I threw a couple oddballs in.
I knew it had something to do with words.
Final question. Who is the best club advisor at Metuchen High School?
Miss Wisniewski.
Bam! Perfect. Okay, so that wraps it up for our little trivia group here.
Yep. So that's going to wrap up this week's show. We wish everybody a happy holidays. We'll have a new show coming shortly after winter break and a bunch of basketball broadcasts coming in January. Thank you, Ms. Wisniewski, for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Eddie and Josh.
So that's going to wrap things up. I'm Eddie Kalegi.
And I'm Josh Hyman.
And this is the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS.